All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Gaurav Shekhar. I am the program director of the Business Analytics program here at UT Dallas. The Flex, which is the on-campus version of this program, and the online version that we launched last fall. I'm the program director for both. This is an information session for our prospective students. Yes, some of you might already be admitted to the program, and if you have questions, we can answer that as well. But if you have questions, put them in the chat. We generally take about 15-20 minutes to go through our slides, and then the rest of the time is all for questions. Now, some of you may have attended one of my sessions before, and we talk about why we really need something like business analytics. The straightforward answer is that companies at this point of time, whether it's a small startup or it's a large enterprise, are all very dependent on data because data has hidden patterns in it. It has what worked, what did not work, and the ability for professionals to look into those kind of patterns to make future decisions. Let's say if there is something cyclical and you know will happen again, as a business who's intelligent enough to look at those patterns, you would want to make sure that you oh, I can hear some feedback. Okay, that's better. You would want to know what really worked because you don't want to repeat your mistakes, but you really want to capitalize on things that worked. It's very easy to say that, let's look at data and be done with it and see what's going on. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Why? Because the knowledge of the models that needs to be used, which model should apply to your analysis, how should you be wrangling your data, how should you be presenting your data, what language you should use to talk to people. Like if, let's say, two data analysts are talking to each other, you talk about the adjusted R squares and the p values and the averages and the medians is okay. Where you go to an executive board and you start talking in those terms, statistical terms, they might not understand it. So your ability to translate what analysis you saw or the patterns that you found in your data is what exactly an analytics professional does. Now, long ago, when companies really realized that they need that analytics angle in their organizations, every company starts with in-house trainings. They want to get people trained on some stuff and make them go ahead. But the speed at which the need for analytics was growing in any organization, big or small, was way faster than their ability to train people. And that's where they started looking at educational institutions, universities, to have programs where you're taught analytics. Now, even when we talk about analytics, a lot of times we feel that reporting, you have all these data visualization tools now, Tableau, Power BI, and you make those visuals, and that's analytics. That still is not analytics. That's just one layer, one part of the whole big picture that we take you through our coursework. The other important thing to know is that the demand versus supply, there is a huge gap. The demand is so big that people really cannot have enough number of folks who are qualified to do this work. So which tells us that if you're embarking on this journey to get a business analytics degree, you're definitely ahead of the curve. And you are somebody who is getting into this right at the start rather than at a point when it is all saturated. I can say easily that for the next 20 to 30 years, the way things are working out, this could definitely be something which is very relevant, and it just keeps on growing for people. See, the way analytics was done 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, or why so far in the history, 5 years ago, was very different. The way people are looking into analytics or running models, creating models, fine-tuning them. And our goal in this program is to equip you with all the tools that you need to work as an independent contributor. Somebody who's confident enough to just take a data set and start wrangling it, to make out what exactly is happening in that. Now, for our program, there are certain things that we are very proud of, and we try to introduce that flexibility as well. The curriculum is the most expansive curriculum of all the business analytics programs that are out there. The number of electives that you have in the program, more than 75 electives to choose 6 courses from. You have 75 for 6. And that is something that is not seen, not heard of in any of the other programs. We, of course, are the largest business analytics program in the US. And because of that, we have this ability of giving you so many choices through which you can go. In a few minutes, I will share some of the, our catalog and show how exactly what kind of electives do we have. Engagement is another thing, because at the end of the day, you're in a business school. And for you to really participate in events, connect with employers, spend time in networking, maybe in student organizations, competitions, research activities, whatever you're doing is really important for you to build a profile. And it's not just to, shine your resume or put some stuff on your resume. But when you go for interviews, every interviewer will only talk about your experiences, whether it was at an organization, whether it was in your educational institution, but how exactly did you do things? And what experience you have had. It doesn't matter whether it was in an enterprise setting or an academic project. Experiences are experiences. So that's where engagement comes in, and knowing the kind of events that we do, it's just not us, but it's literally every other person who's out there in the school who's working on making sure that you have enough face time with employers, you get to participate in events, you have that full student life that you may have thought about in graduate school. Finally, we're very focused on outcomes. This is not something that every student gets to work with us on, because yes, we have committees, we have leadership councils, we have several ways to gauge what was the impact of an event. Did it really help our students? Is this something that we could do better the next time, or is this something that, okay, doesn't work and let's look at things differently? Because at the end of the day, if it is not yielding any benefits, then probably we are not doing the right things. As I mentioned, the largest program in the country with an average starting salary of about $100,000 has been there for the last 2 or 3 years. That number, and this number comprises of the base salary, the maybe a signing bonus, an year-end bonus, but the first year compensation to the company, to the employer, is about $100,000. We have partnerships with dozens of companies, and that really helps you all as students, because to get internships, to meet these executives, to get mentored by them. The program runs a mentoring program where every mentor is a C-level executive. Yes, we have select number of students who get into that because of the size of the program. But again, for you to get that mentoring from a C-level executive or CEO, let's say 30 to 45 minutes every week for the whole semester, is going to be a life changer. There's a high return on investment. And when I say that, we're basing it off a few things. First of all, UTD has been ranked for several years by different agencies as the #1 institution in Texas when it comes to return on investment. Let's say that you take an educational loan for your entire, the tuition that you're paying here, your entire experience here at UTD. Amongst the Texas institutions, you end up paying it back the fastest. Now, generally, depending on which financial institution you go to, they give you anywhere between 7 to 12 years to pay it. Maybe some of them might give you more, but generally what we have seen is anywhere between 3 to 4 years. Our students are able to pay back their entire educational loans, and that can only happen if you're earning big bucks, and that's what our students are doing. And it's not like that, you'll be short of money to sustain. I mean, you can pay a good amount of your educational loans. If you want to support your family, you have money for that, for your own expenses, and you still end up saving. Now, when we talk about internships, the number for the last few years has been between 550 to 600 internships a year. And these are done in companies all over the place. Yes, most of them are in Texas, but then the East, the West Coast, most of the states where there are good internships, good paying jobs, students go there. The last year has been different because we had most of them doing it remotely. And even this summer that is happening. But then come fall, a lot of companies are relaxing, their work from home policies and all, and which will let our students go to offices and get that experience. $24 an hour roughly equates to about $50,000 a year, but that's how the internship versus full-time pay works. It's mostly the average is about 1:2. So what you earn $1 as an intern, you earn $2 as a full-time employee. Now there are companies where they have no difference in the pay for full-time employees versus interns, and our students go there as well. Companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla. Talking about the actual curriculum, there are 10 different tracks. The new catalog for fall 2021 is out. Out of those 36 credits, 18 of them are core. Now, whether you do this online, you do this in person, those core classes are going to be the same. On top of that, a flex student gets to pick up electives from 10 different tracks. And these 10 tracks have about 75 courses. So 18 credits equates to 6 courses, each course being for 3 credits. An internship component is required in the program to graduate. And of course, most of our students end up getting it. In case for any reason you don't get an internship, we do have an alternate course that you can take, which helps you get that professional experience because there are sponsors with whom you work on a semester-long project. It's a STEM designated program. A lot of times employers are looking for STEM designated programs. Our program is, and especially if you're an international student, that extended time on the OPT, where you can get 2 additional years to work on your student visa, is afforded by the STEM program. The 3 different formats that we have is, so the Flex being our largest format with the most options out there. Having 10 different tracks, it's available both in the face-to-face and online. It is self-paced, so again, nobody says that you have to finish the program in a certain number of months. Honestly, the fastest you can finish this program is 9 months. Load up 2 semesters with 18 credits each. Now, we don't recommend that, but you can finish if you're on that fast express train to just get your degree. That can be done. The maximum time for any degree at UT Dallas is 72 months. But most of our students take about 3 to 4 long semesters, which is about 18 to 22 months in which they get to do this. Cohort is another one which has 2 of the tracks. Now, they have data science and accounting analytics. Again, those tracks are not only in cohort, they're also in the Flex program. Flex is the main program from which we created the cohort and the online the last few years. Our online offering has data science and data engineering related courses, and it's 100% online. So if you're a working professional and you want to take the online program and you want to self-pace your courses, you don't want to sit in front of your computer and attend a class at a certain day or time, this is the one. There are different scholarship options available. In the online program, we have a fixed $15,000 if you are an out-of-state student and $10,000 if you are an in-state student. Gre Gmat waivers are available for fall 21 and spring 22. So just apply and send an email, and I'll share that email in a second. You just need to send an email to advising, letting them know that you want a waiver. Now, if you're looking for a scholarship as part of the Flex program, if you go with a waiver, GRE or GMAT waiver, you cannot apply for the scholarship because the scholarship would require GRE, GMAT. In the online program, and same goes for the cohort as well, even if you get a waiver, they will still use your profile for scholarship consideration. This is first-hand experiences on LinkedIn. Look for the hashtag UTDMSB and you will see LinkedIn stories about people's internships, the courses they're doing, stuff, whatever is happening in their world. First-hand experiences that they have put there. This can give you an idea as to what our students do. These are not moderated by the school. These are the students' experiences. So I strongly recommend that if you don't have a LinkedIn account, first of all, create it. But if you have one, which I'm pretty sure you may have it, look for this hashtag. Application requirements, you have, as I said, the GRE GMAT waivers are available. Once you submit your application, your complete application, send an email to jasongadvising@utdallas.edu and just a one-line email asking them for a GMAT GRE waiver. They will go through your transcripts, and I think it takes about a week for them to decide whether you should get that waiver or not. If you don't get it, they will let you know that you'll have to write one of the 2 tests. Transcripts, if you have your unofficial ones, send them over to us. We need them for the decision. But once you're admitted, you can send out your transcripts, the official ones. And again, when you're sending your official transcripts and degree certificate, either you can use one of the online services that we have, like TrueCopy, where institutions are connected on that platform and they exchange documents between institutions. Or if you're getting it attested from your degree or transcript issuing institution, get it attested, put it in an envelope, seal the envelope, and make sure that you have stamps on the seals. We also need a resume, one letter of recommendation, and that letter of recommendation can come from a professor that you may have had in your undergrad degree, or a supervisor at work, whosoever it is, somebody who has seen you in a capacity that they can vouch for your work. And then a personal objective statement, an essay. How long? 1 page should be good enough, double spaced. That's all we need. The theme, we get a question all the time that what should we write in this? So if there is something about your application that you could not tell us in any of the other documents that you have submitted, use the essay as for that. The other thing is, what we really look for is what got you to this point where you're now applying for a business analytics degree, and then once you get this degree, how do you plan to use it? That's all. Talking about the deadlines, our regular deadlines for fall, and this is for all the years, is for fall is May 1st, spring is October 1st, and summer is March 1st. Now, we do accept late applications, and you can apply all the way until the day prior to classes. Our fall deadline, the regular deadline, is over, but you can still apply. We are open to fall applications. There will be a $75 late application fee, and we're starting on August 23rd. So I would say that even if you put your application by August 15th, that should be good, but we will accept it. And the application fee is waived for any UTD alums. If you're a UTD alum and you're going for this, you really don't need to pay. I mean, you can apply whenever you want to. There's no late fee, there's no application fee. Now, if you're planning to go for the online program, the 100% online program, for that, the application, there's no late fee. There's one standard application fee that, and again, the timelines do apply there, but even if you apply now after May 1st, let's say for fall, we won't assess the late fee. For the Flex program, you may have been in touch with our program manager, Sylvia Leventhal, but our direct contact details, our emails, our phone numbers, feel free to send us an email, or if you want to schedule time with us, that is also possible. But we are here for your questions, and I think I did see a lot of questions come in, so we'll jump into that. But before I do that, I just want to quickly talk about our new catalog briefly. So this catalog is for fall of 21, for the next academic year. And as you can see, our core courses comprise of predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics. You have an advanced statistics course, which is descriptive analytics, a database course, and then a foundational business analytics course, which you can take using R or SAS. It's up to you. One of them will apply, and then an econometrics course right there. This set of courses is same for any format, online or face-to-face on campus. What changes is with the formats is the availability of these tracks. So as a Flex student, You can take any course from all these tracks that are out there. Now again, tracks are ways to put a container around a set of courses. Let's say if you say, hey, I want to do something about accounting analytics. What kind of courses should I take? Well, the courses that are listed out here are the ones that will help you towards accounting analytics. Now, do you have to take all the courses in a track? No, not really. You can if you want to. So you have 6 electives. You can take all 6 electives from one track, or you can take one elective from 6 different tracks. It's up to you how you mix and match it. But accounting, cybersecurity, data science, data engineering, all these different courses that we have. And sometimes one course might apply to multiple tracks. For example, let me see. OK. We have the robotic process automation course. OK. Whatever we do in this class applies to the data science track, and it applies to the decision and operational analytics track as well. So that ways we can have some of these courses. But financial analytics, healthcare, marketing, we have anything that you think about, there is a course related to. And the other good thing is we keep on adding new courses every year. We always keep on expanding our catalog, because we get input from our students, we get input from our advisory boards, we get input from employers, and we take that very seriously. And we try to get those courses in as soon as possible, just to make sure that whatever we are doing in the program stays relevant for the industry. Now, a new thing that got added for this fall is our brand new graduate certificate in applied machine learning. What you do in this certificate is these 4 courses. The stats class, the business analytics in our class, and then the applied machine learning and applied NLP class. You take these 4, you get an average 3.0, you get a graduate certificate from the university. It's not a certification, it's a certificate, graduate certificate. It's like a micro degree. And a lot of times we do have working professionals who come to the university to do these kind of micro degrees or graduate certificates. Now, if you had to come and do this certificate just by itself, it would cost you anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 depending on your residency. But as a graduate student, as a master's degree student, if you end up taking these courses and you have applied to this program, you end up getting credit for these courses as well. So let's say you are in the graduate certificate program and the MSBA program, and you have taken the advanced statistics class, you get credit for both. It's not like you have to pay 2 times. You pay once and you get credit for both. So for a master's degree student, somebody seeking a master's degree and who does these courses, this certificate is for free, literally for free for you. All you have to do is just take those courses and get an average 3.0 in those courses. You don't really have to apply for the certificate program just before you start your degree program. Let's say the first semester you do your stats class, which is part of the certificate. In the second semester, you decide, I want to apply for this certificate. You can send your application in the second year, no problem. Every course that will count towards a degree program has to be taken in the 72-month window. That's it. That's all that we look at. Not really when you have really applied. And people, what they do is, there are some folks who will start the semester, their first semester, by applying to these certificate programs as well. And they have in their mind when they have to take these courses. Again, you cannot take all the courses in one semester. It will be a multi-semester thing. But even if you're applying for them in the second semester, it's good. One of the things that can happen is you may end up graduating from the certificate program before you graduate from your whole degree program. So what do you do with that graduate certificate? You use it for your internship search. You use it for your job search. That you have already done something with UTD, you have a diploma right there. And once you graduate and you have your degree certificate, well, you have 2 diplomas from the university. Just want to touch on this because this is our latest thing that just got added. Anyways, let's look at the questions here. So the first one, Alex, okay, you asked about the certificate, so we've gone through that. Jivesh, could you please tell if fully vaccinated with the vaccine approved by irrespective whether you have the vaccine or not, you're still going to quarantine. 3 to 5 days is what the school has recommended for any international student. Now, remember, the university is not forcing students to get vaccinated. There's no mandate that you have to be vaccinated. Now, if something changes in the future, our COVID updates page, UT Dallas, is where we are posting it, but there's no mandate to take a vaccine. But if you want a vaccine, the university has a vaccination site. In fact, it's right next to the School of Management's building, and you can go and get your vaccine right there. But irrespective of whether you have the vaccine or not, since you're traveling internationally, and again, you will, if you're traveling from an international location, you need to have that negative COVID test report to even board your flight. And then when you come here, a 3 to 5 day of quarantine, and then you're good. What is the process and deadline for applying to the certificate courses? So Rupali, just like your degree program, when you started the application, it would ask you what do you want to apply for. You select a degree program. Instead of that, you select certificate. And as I said, you don't really have to do this before you even take one of these courses. So there are instances where people have, and in fact, right now that's happening. A lot of our students have taken all the 4 courses. They're still not graduated, but they want to just apply for the program now, which is possible. Till the time when you're graduating from that certificate program, if you have taken the courses in the 72-month period, we will give you credit for that. And another thing is, for all our current students, when you are applying to this certificate program, the same application fee and all those things will happen. In this case, for you now, there's no application fee. You don't need to pay anything because you're already a current student. So as a current student or as an alum, you only pay the application fee once. That's it. Pallav, BTech CSE pass out July 21, eligible for fall 22 with internships and MOOCs instead of any full-time. Pallav, I'm trying to understand the question here. Again, if you're talking about experience, will your experience be required for this? Not really. I mean, we do have students who just finish their programs and they start the graduate program with us. So definitely, whatever you have done at your undergrad level, we'll have your transcripts, but do attach any kind of experiential learning and make it as part of your resume. Roshan, when I want to enroll in the course, I can only see the section numbers which are different from the ones which for example, I want to enroll in 16356. I can see section numbers other than 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. Roshan, again, if you're confident that you're coming here before the start of classes, and this for everybody, if you're confident that you're coming here before the start of classes, enroll in any of these sections. But if you feel that there might be a delay of a few weeks and you'll be coming in the second 8 weeks time frame, then go with the sections that we listed for you, because those are the hybrid sections which will allow you to watch your lectures through a live stream or through a recording till the time you're here. And then once you're here in the US, you can simply sit in the classroom. Now, let's say, and I'm just making this up, you are in section 1. Okay, it's not like that in the middle of the semester you can go to section 4. Doesn't work like that. Once you're enrolled in a class, you're enrolled in the class. Yes, you can move between instructors. There is a deadline for that. We have Census Day, and our academic calendar has all the deadlines for swapping, adding, dropping classes. But if you're past that date, you really cannot move between sections. So that's why if there is any delay for your arrival, and this applies only to our international students, then just go with the sections that we listed. If you don't find a space, get on the wait list. And the best way to deal with that is reach out to JSOM gradvising@utdallas.edu if you're not able to do it yourself, but get on the wait list. See, we are constantly looking at those numbers. And even though you might not see sometimes daily updates to those numbers or new sections being opened, we are in the process of saying what is the best way of provisioning additional seats wherever possible. And because we are still a few weeks away from the start of the semester, you might not see new sections immediately, but get into something. At least get on the wait list for those courses if you are traveling internationally and you may have a delay. Because those live stream sections, the hybrid sections, are the ones that will help you out. Amresh, what about switching to business analytics after 6+ years? Will the recruiters be open to her? Absolutely. Amresh, business analytics knows no experience. Let's put it that way. Whether you are the CEO of the company or you are a fresher, everybody requires analytics experience. In fact, business analytics is something that everybody has some part to play. Now, whether you are somebody who's creating models on a daily basis, or you're somebody who's creating reports, or you're somebody who's, that bridge between, maybe a researcher and your business team, everybody requires some kind of experience. And in fact, when you come in with 6 years of experience, you definitely bring some domain experience. You bring in some other experience, which might not be related to analytics, but works very well with analytics. We have to remember that analytics is something that can gel with any industry and any background. Okay. Can gel with any industry and any background. You talk about the traditional ones, real estate, oil and natural gas, where people would not even think about analytics, is all using analytics left, right, and center because they can see the benefits. So absolutely, with 6+ years, you'll have a very different way through which you can project your newfound analytics experience with your previous experience and your domain knowledge. Surya, can you elaborate on the on-campus jobs and opportunities for the part-time? Yes, you can start an on-campus job from day one. An on-campus job, again, there are different types of on-campus jobs. One is you are a student worker. You can do that from the very first semester. You just need to enroll in the program, and once you're enrolled, we use a portal called Handshake. Go create your profile. All the on-campus jobs are posted there. You can apply to that. They might interview you for whatever position they might feel like, and then you can start a job there. Another kind of on-campus job is TAs and RAs. Now, we don't assign you a TA-ship in the very first semester. Why? Because we want you to spend at least a semester so that you can get a UTD GPA, because for whatever class we'll assign you as a TA, we want you to have taken that class. And that can only happen if you have spent at least a semester at UTD. But there are, with the campus opening up, there are going to be many, many more jobs, on-campus jobs, which you didn't have last year just because a lot of things were remote. What is the typical, Anthony, what's the typical time commitment of the program? Hours of class per study? Well, very good question, Anthony. Now, if you are meeting once a week for a certain course, it's a 2-hour, 45-minute long class. Of course, there are breaks and all. And most of the instructors go around 2 hours, 30 minutes-ish. That's the class time. But on top of it, with your assignments and your self-learning, I would say provision another at least 2 hours per week for your courses. And the reason why I say 2 hours per week is because you really need to invest that much time. It could include self-study, it could include assignments. Now, one good thing is when you start your program, the first semester is more about getting acclimatized to the program, knowing how exactly taking classes and things work. So you might be spending maybe more time. But as you get into the second semester, you always will end up, with maybe spending lesser time because you're now very gelled, you're fine-tuned to actually how do you take classes, how do you manage your time and all. But on an average, depending on the number of courses that you have, maybe between the class time and your own time to study, anywhere between 4 to 5 hours a week is what I would recommend. But I've seen students, a lot of times, some of them they utilize the classroom time so well that they don't really need to do anything after the class is done. So this is something that you will have to test yourself as to how much time you end up spending. But I know for a fact, on an average, students end up spending lesser time in subsequent semesters because, some of the glitches or the hurdles of the first semester about getting just on with that routine of taking classes, you're done with that with your second semester onwards. Also, for the online track, are the electives pre-selected or can you? Oh, you choose your own electives. Now, again, we might have the data engineering and the data science track for the online courses, but you want to choose which courses you want to take from there. And that list continues to increase every semester, every academic year. You end up choosing it. We'll have more than 6 options, definitely. We have about 10 right now, and that keeps on increasing every semester. Even if you're in the Flex program and you want to take courses online, that also is possible. And again, you have a bigger list out there. But in the Flex program, I would say 80 to 85% of our classes are face-to-face. The rest are online, purely online. Sai Suma, is it mandatory to have 4-week gap between the vaccination date and TB test date? What if we cannot meet this criteria and we'll have to attend the classes online after coming to? Well, Sai Suma, honestly, I do not have any information about whether our test center really recommends that or not. I have not heard them say that there has to be some kind of gap between the TB test and your, the vaccination. What I would recommend is HealthCen, HealthCen at utdallas.edu is the best place to ask this question. And again, any type of information about what is the time for quarantine or do you need to get vaccinated or not, or what kind of vaccine? First of all, we don't recommend a certain brand of vaccine. We don't force you to get vaccinated. But what I would recommend is when somebody talks about it or you are hearing it through different channels or groups or other students who might be talking about it, always try to ask what is the source of the information. And anything that UT Dallas has, we publish it on our websites. It may take some time sometimes to get to that right page to get that information, but always try to ask for what's the source. Just don't go by hearsay. So yeah, I found that getting the TB test results takes around 4 days. My slot is scheduled for August 20th. Is there a chance it will be dropped from there? That's not the case, Surya. Again, our team is working, our health center team is working on seeing if we can have these test results out sooner than that. We understand that on 23rd you need to start your classes, and it'll be really good to have those results before you start your classes. So typically it may have taken 4 days, but we have ways through which it can be done sooner. Anthony, can I complete the internship requirement through my current employer? Absolutely, Anthony. In fact, people who are pursuing full-time jobs, they don't need to leave their jobs and do an internship separately. What you do is what we call this a special project. So you work out with your manager, between you and your manager, you work out a special project that incorporates stuff that you've learned in the program. So let's say you took a class on advanced statistics and you did a data visualization class, and now you're ready for your internship. And by the way, you need to complete 18 credit hours in the program before you can start an internship. So when you're ready, you go and you talk to your employer and your manager, and you guys come up with an exploratory project where you take a data set that you guys see daily, and you want to do some exploratory data analysis in that using some of the models that you've learned in the class, and maybe using a visualization tool to create a kind of a proof of concept. All you have to do is make sure that how many ever credits you are taking, you're working for at least 80 hours for each of the credit. That has to be the duration of your project. And once you're done, we give you credit for it. There are a few assignments 3 or 4 assignments, depending on how many courses, how many credits you take for an internship, but definitely you can pursue a special project and count it as an internship with us. In fact, a lot of working professionals do that. And don't worry, we don't want you to leave your job and do this. Is flex possible with a 9 to 5 full-time schedule? Sometimes work days are much longer depending on the time of the year. It is possible. In fact, we have a lot of classes in the night, which starts at 7 o'clock in the evening. And again, if you're let's say a domestic student, and I'm guessing it from the fact that you're working here, you don't really have to take 9 credits, the full-time load. You can take 1 or 2 courses a semester. What I would recommend is if you're working, start with 1 or 2 classes. See how that load fits your schedule. Maybe start with just 1 class. Because that whole thing about getting used to taking classes and working at the same time, you have to get used to it. Once you do that for a semester, the next semester you load up maybe more courses if you want to. But it's definitely doable. And sometimes what happens is, I'm just basing it off some of my students in the past, who are in consulting jobs. They would travel Monday to Friday, and then they take classes on Friday. I'm sorry, Monday to Thursday, and they would take classes on Friday. So depending on how your work schedule is, you might also want to opt for an online class. If you feel that a certain semester you're going to have lots of work, do an online class. And that even works for our students who are pursuing internships, especially the international students. In summer, let's say, you do an internship, and at that time, you also take an online class, a completely online class. So, as I said, flexibility is the name of the program. We have lots of options there. Jerry Line, have application for fall ended? Not really. You still can apply to our programs. If you're applying to Flex, there will be an additional $75. If you want to go 100% online, there's no additional late fee. You can apply. Shubham, is there an extension of deadline? No, Shubham. There's no extension of the regular deadline, but you can still apply if you have not applied. An additional $75 will be assessed. What is the placement scenario after the degree, and what are some of the companies that are in the tie-up with the university? Raj, great question. Now, for the last, and I'm just basing it off the recent years, so for whatever years we have been in, we have been here since 2014, this program. We've always had numbers in the late 80s to early 90s, that range in terms of percentage of students getting a job in the first 3 months after graduation. And that number has only gone up. This $100,000 and the 90% average is the last 2 or 3 years that we have been seeing continuously and consistently. The companies that we have tied up with, companies like, and we have people there, they're key people on our boards as well. You talk about Ericsson, talk about AWS, FedEx, Toyota, North America. I'm just thinking about some of the big names. In Amazon also, we have Amazon Web Services and the parent company Amazon. We have people from Microsoft. We have people, in fact, Microsoft, some of the directors are on our advisory board as well. We have companies like SAP. SAP continues to hire from us. And in fact, very recently, we started sending our students to companies like Apple, Facebook, Tesla on a very regular basis, which used to be sprinkled, as now suddenly we are seeing more and more people who are hiring for these roles, because all of them need data scientists. They need people around data and business analytics. And again, our program with the kind of depth that you have is really suited for them. When is the right time to take the graduation certificate course, or the graduate certificate course? Start anytime you want to. Do it before you graduate from the degree program. Make sure that you don't graduate from the certificate program after you're done with your degree. Do it before that. So anytime you can apply once you're here. Alex, does the applied machine certificate lead to higher pay in comparison to not receiving it at all? Well, again, machine learning is something that is being catching up with a lot of different sectors in the industry. Now, if you don't have the certificate, and again, this is a brand new certificate, We just introduced it. But even without the certificate in hand, people have had tremendous success in the program. And that is still possible. But if you have this certificate, definitely it tells the employers that you have something which is valid and something that you don't have to really go and explain to somebody what kind of coursework you took. Just that certificate tells that you have expertise in a certain area. And it just adds to what you're getting out of UT Dallas. In fact, you're maximizing the money that you're spending at UTD with that. Jerryline, I have just moved to Texas. Do I still qualify for residence tuition rates or still have to pay out of state? Jerryline, you might want to reach out to residency at utdallas.edu. I think you need to be in Texas for 12 months before you can qualify for the in-state tuition rates. But what I would recommend is reach out to them and see if there is something else that in your profile that helps you get that in-state tuition. Srijan, how important is having relevant work experience before starting this program? Will it affect my internship or job search? This is a question that we get from a lot of students who feel that having no work experience is going to be a negative thing on their profile. It will blemish their ability to get into a job. So you have to think about it this way. Corporate America requires people across all types of experiences. There are certain jobs which are handmade for folks with no experience to say 2 years of experience. And then there are roles which are there only for experienced professionals. Now, if let's say you don't have any experience and you're going and applying for a job that requires 5 years of experience, then that's a wrong match there. Then there is definitely a high chance that you would get a rejection. And there are tons of employers, especially the big four. Taking an example, so Deloitte, and by the way, Deloitte is another company that hires from us a lot. Their managing director is on our board. Deloitte has a lot of different positions, consultants, senior consultants, all that is there. But they also have something called a business technology consultant. And the requirement to be in that role is 0 to 2 years. The other thing is being in a master's program equates to X number of years of experience in an industry, in a company. Now, depending on how people look at that, but generally a master's degree accelerates your career by easily 2 to 4 years, depending on what company you're looking at. So just completing your degree itself is going to give you some good thorough experience that a prospective employer can take into account. In fact, I was just talking to FedEx yesterday about some openings that they have, and they clearly mentioned that they need somebody with 5 years of experience. But even if someone came into our program with 1 to 2 years of experience, they will still equate that person equivalent to 5 years of industry experience. So that gap is fulfilled by your master's degree. And another thing is, especially about internship, again, the more experience you have, the lesser is the ability of the employer to train you on stuff. And that's what the whole deal about an internship is. So if you have no experience, you are a very good candidate for an internship. And again, that internship can lead to a full-time job. In fact, a lot of our students end up extending their internship to multiple semesters and eventually get a full-time offer. I don't know who this is, but guest, when can we start enrolling? Well, if you are already admitted, enrollment is open, and enrollment has been open for a few weeks now. So once if you're admitted, your holds are removed, you can simply start enrolling. Raksha, is prior knowledge on coding or programming a prerequisite for the program? It is not. It is recommended. And to all our students, in fact, there's an email that is going out pretty soon where we have kind of recommended some of the courses that you can take before you come to UTD. What we do is we offer services like Data Camp or a Coursera for free for our students. So you'll get emails about you getting access to those platforms, and we'll let you know some of the courses that we feel you should take before you come to the program. Having that knowledge will help you because there are some courses that might require some bit of coding. There are courses that might require you to know about things like databases and all, and just brushing up those concepts or just knowing about them give you a little head start into the program. Are there any new sections opening for database foundations? We're working on it, Ayushi, right now. Yes, when can we start? Okay, this was answered, Saisuma. But when can we start looking for on-campus jobs? Is there an app, Handshake, and you can do that from day one? Is Duolingo test accepted? It is. But if your language of instruction in your undergrad degree was English, we don't need TOEFL or IELTS or anything else. Saurabh, I have 3 years of experience in full stack development. Will doing MSBA be a good option? Absolutely. You know how things are created. Now, in our program, you will know how they're applied and what kind of data it generates. See, at the end of the day, any IT system or any application, why do we have them? The only reason why we have these applications and IT systems is to manage data. So if you have experience around creating, developing, you can see how exactly the life cycle of data is and use your analytics skill sets to really wrangle that data well. So I think with somebody with the development experience, MSBA really works well. Varsha, are there any undergrad prerequisite courses that are needed or recommended? Not really. All we need is you need to have some kind of math calculus background. Because if you don't have that, then we have a course, which is a program prerequisite for 3 credits that we'll ask you to take. But that's pretty much. Will more classes open for core in the next semester? So core classes are offered in every semester. And we definitely will have. So in case there is a particular course that you were not able to get into as of today, we are still working on our sections. And again, we don't want to impulsively just open new sections without logically thinking where we need them. And that's why you might not see a waitlist move or something else happen. But we are continuously monitoring that, in fact, on a daily basis. And when I say daily basis, it's not in the program, but at the school level, we are monitoring it on a daily basis. As and when required, we will be adding new classes wherever it is feasible. But let's say you don't end up getting into a class, you can take it in the next semester. Okay. Roshan, what if I'm not directly coming to the university, but going to stay with my relative for a week? Do I still need to quarantine? Well, again, 3 to 4 days, whether you quarantine in your own apartment or you're with your relative. It's about coming to UTD, the campus. Just quarantine yourself in a dwelling. George, for Spring 22, can I apply initially with the GRE waiver and later apply for scholarships when the scholarship applications have started with GRE, which I'm planning to write, or is it preferable to wait until George, you can do that. If you want to go ahead with a GRE waiver for now and later submit a GRE score and submit an application, absolutely. What you have to make sure is before the application deadline, which is October 1st, and as soon as possible, if you can do that, that's better. Our committee needs to have your GRE or GMAT score and your scholarship application. Anish, apart from Python and R, are there any skills that you value while considering an application? Even if you don't have Python or R, we look at your application holistically. What kind of courses you have done, what kind of degree program you have been a part of. We have people from psychology who've done a bachelor in psychology come and apply to the program. Your resume, your experiences, any academic projects, any internships, any externships, any full-time experience. As I said, your resume is important. Your essay is important. Sometimes really the deciding factor is that essay, because we see that conviction. We know that this person really can do well. And maybe a lot of things might not stand out in the rest of the application, but something, it could be a recommendation letter. So there's no one thing that will just simply pull up your application, and there's no one thing that will defeat your application, will lead to a rejection. Utkarsh, in case a person gets an admit to Spring 20, but due to uncertain conditions in India because it's mandatory, unable to get his visa done in time, will he be allowed to defer to fall? Absolutely. You can defer by a year, by an academic year, and that's possible. It's a we have a tool for that through which you can send in a request if you have to do that. But knowing what's happening, and especially in the last, I would say 2 weeks, from June of 14th, how the consulate has added especially in India, the consulates in India, they have added so many new slots, thousands of slots, and students who initially were thinking they won't get any visa slots are now telling us that they've got appointments and all. So we feel that hopefully by the time we are getting ready for our spring semester and students are seeking visas for spring of 22, things will be much better. But let's say worst case, if something changes and you have to defer, you can. Is there any orientation session from JSON before the start? Absolutely. The school orientation is going to be on August 19th. And I'm not sure if you've already received an email, but you should be receiving it soon to register. How do you pay tuition fee for the courses? Saib, you may want to go to the Bursar's website. There are some great options there. You can have the money transferred. Let's say you have a bank account in the US, or once you come here and you get a bank account and you get a transfer into the bank account, you can pay from that. Another service that a lot of people use, especially international students, it's called Flywire. And it's a very hassle-free way of getting your money to UTD. What you do is there are multiple ways through which you can deposit the money into an account of Flywire in India, and then it is sent to UTD. I think it takes 24 to 72 hours for the whole thing to happen. But go to the Bursar's website and that should help you with those options. We have got lots of options. And in case you cannot find it, just reach out to me. I'll probably help you with that. Rakshit, I'm deferring my intake from fall 21 to spring 22. Spring intake is difficult to get in time. So I'm glad that you asked that question, Rakshit, because a lot of times people feel, what is a good semester to start your program and what's a good semester to graduate? The answer is none. Every semester is good. Whenever you can come in, it has some benefits. Whenever you graduate, it has benefits. See, if you say that, okay, spring has more jobs after graduation, well, there are more people also who are graduating. So proportionally, there are always opportunities out there. And sometimes what happens is, let's say companies said that, okay, we are going to open our new jobs in August or September and not right in May when the spring classes graduate. So if a person graduates in summer, they still can apply for that August and September job. So I would say any semester you come in, and with the fact that you need 18 credits to start your internship, you have that handle on that. You can go ahead and you can start your internship as soon as you want, rather than waiting for those 2 long semesters before you could have started an internship. Let's say you come in spring, and we have a lot of students who are doing it right now. They came in spring, they took some courses, they're taking some summer courses. They'll be done with 18 credits by the end of summer, which means fall onwards, they have an internship, or they're at least eligible for an internship. So every semester has its benefits. And I think that overall, when we look at it, there's no good or bad semester. Every semester is okay. State funded in the flex program, Jerryline. State funded means that, let's say that if somebody becomes a TA in the flex program, they will get in-state tuition. If they get a scholarship, which comes with the additional, in-state tuition, you will get that in the state funded programs. Another thing in the flex program is the more credits you take, the per credit hour rate goes down. Why? Because that's the structure that is approved by the state. With cohort and flex, we have flat tuition rates. If you're an out-of-state student, $1528 per credit hour. In-state is $1250, and your residency never changes. Graduate certificate adds 2 credit hours. Again, the credit hours will remain same. It's not like that you have to do anything on top of graduate certificates. Let's say out of the 36, you've taken 12 from the graduate certificate. That will count. Those 12 will count both towards your certificate as well as your degree. Anthony, you can start in Flex and then change it to online if required. Absolutely, that kind of change is acceptable. If you want, you can start with the online program itself. And if you feel that, okay, you have time to come to campus, then we can talk about sending you into the Flex program. Shubham, is there any TOEFL IELTS exam waiver? Yes, if your language of instruction in your undergrad degree is English, we don't need TOEFL and IELTS. If you apply for the spring program, will you be eligible for assistantships? Just want to confirm if it's a second semester when we can apply for assistantships. Irrespective of when you start, it's only in your second semester that you can be a TA for the first time. Because we need UTD GPA and we want you to take courses at UTD first. Okay, Sai, is there any, okay, same question, just answered. It's the same. It's a UTD thing. It's not an MSBA thing. TOEFL and IELTS waiver for any applicant whose language of instruction was English. I deferred my application in Galaxy. How many days? It takes about a week to 10 days, maybe sometimes lesser, but you should hear back soon. Okay, we are at the top of the hour here. So let me take this last question from Saurabh. Earlier, I got admit from management science program. I couldn't attend. Now I'm not able to use the same account to apply. Should I create a new one? Yeah, I'm not sure why they're not letting you apply, but just go ahead and create a new one if that helps. All right. Well, thank you again for all your questions, folks. The recording of this will be shared with you all. But we're very thankful for your questions and the fact that you chose UTD and our program for your further journey. But if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. And if you need to talk to me as well on a one-on-one basis, that's also possible. But I hope to see you all soon on campus. Things are opening up here and we are very positive about what we can do at UTD when fall comes here. Our excitement is just like yours. We share it with you for all of you who are planning to come to UTD in the next few semesters. Well, with that, have a good one, and we are going to be in touch. Wherever you are, keep safe. Bye-bye.